If you have been pouring banana peel water on your plants and seeing absolutely zero results, you are not crazy. I used to do the exact same thing until my uncle, who grows the biggest tomatoes in Georgia, laughed at my rotting banana water. He showed me a simple 2-week method that turns kitchen scraps into rich soil, no blender required. And today, we are looking at the real numbers, what is actually happening underground, and exactly how to do it right. If you search banana peel fertilizer on YouTube, you will find hundreds of videos calling it a miracle. One channel says, blend it with water. Another says, bury the peels whole. A third says, dry them into powder. And the comments are completely split. On one video, I found people saying banana peels, eggshells, and coffee grounds are the best. Right beside that, someone else said, I have tried blending banana peels for months and nothing improved. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. Both groups are telling the truth, and understanding why requires looking at the actual science. So I pulled up the USDA nutrient database. Banana peel NPK is approximately 0, 0.1, 0.6. That means potassium is at 0.6%. For reference, kelp meal typically runs 1 to 2% potassium. Wood ash can reach 3 to 7%. It shocked me too. My first reaction was, this cannot be right. I checked 3 more sources. Same numbers. Then I realized the issue is not that banana peels are useless. The issue is that miracle fertilizer is the wrong category. They are a slow-release potassium supplement. A small but real one. And really, that is the heart of the problem. The miracle framing is what creates the disappointment. Think about it this way. Banana peels also contain small amounts of calcium, magnesium, and manganese. None of these will transform your garden overnight, but composted correctly, they do contribute. Your grandmother's compost pile was right. The blending with water videos were just incomplete. Now here is where it gets much more interesting, because low NPK is not the only reason raw banana peels do not work. There is something happening underground that almost nobody talks about. When you place raw banana peels on the soil surface, the microbes that decompose them need nitrogen to do their job. And here's the key. They pull that nitrogen from your soil temporarily. That is what soil scientists call nitrogen immobilization, or what gardeners experience as nitrogen drawdown. According to Teaming with Microbes by Lowenfels and Lewis, high carbon materials decomposing in soil can temporarily reduce available nitrogen around them. That is why some gardeners who apply raw banana peels report slower growth. They accidentally starve their soil while trying to feed it. And that really explains so much. The good news is that this is a temporary effect, not permanent soil damage, but it does explain why so many people feel like the hack failed them. Now let's fix the 3 common mistakes, because this is where things usually go wrong. Mistake number 1 is blending peels with water. This creates a diluted, low-nutrient liquid that begins fermenting before your plants can absorb much of anything. Mistake number 2 is placing whole peels on the soil surface. Under typical conditions, surface decomposition takes 6 to 12 months. And in the meantime, it can trigger nitrogen drawdown. Mistake number 3 is expecting banana peels to replace real potassium sources. At 0.6%, they simply cannot do the job of kelp meal or wood ash for heavy feeders like tomatoes or peppers. Now, I want to be honest here. Banana peels are not a complete fertilizer. They are one ingredient in a composting toolkit. They can contribute alongside other amendments, but they cannot replace a balanced fertilizing program. And that is okay. That is exactly what my uncle understood intuitively without ever reading a study. So what is the right method? Write this down, because the answer is simple, practical, and far more effective than the miracle tricks people keep repeating. Method A is trench composting. Dig a trench or a small hole about 6 inches deep. Chop or tear your banana peels into smaller pieces and bury them. Cover them with soil. Under warm, moist conditions, they often break down in about 2 to 4 weeks. In cooler climates, allow 4 to 6 weeks. Cold clay soils may take even longer. Adjust for your specific growing environment. And one anti-mistake note matters here. Do not bury them directly against existing roots. Stay about 6 inches away. Method B is the compost bin. Add banana peels to your compost bin with a ratio of approximately 3 parts brown material to 1 part green. Banana peels count as green. Turn the pile regularly. When the peel material is no longer recognizable, that is your signal it is ready to apply. And this is where things really change, because that finished compost makes the potassium highly available while significantly reducing any drawdown risk. Method C is dried peel powder, the no-bin option. Dry your banana peels in an oven at low heat, around 200 degree F or 90 degrees C for about 3 hours. Crush them into powder and sprinkle it at the base of plants. This is better than raw surface application, but really, it is not quite as effective as fully composted peel. Think of it as the middle ground option. Every time you toss a banana peel, you're throwing away free garden food. That is the real point. Your uncle's compost pile was capturing that value correctly the whole time. Now, let's be fully honest about expectations, because this is where most garden advice quietly sets people up for disappointment. What banana peels can do is supplement potassium in a diverse compost mix, add small amounts of calcium, magnesium, and manganese, improve soil structure when fully composted, and reduce kitchen waste. That is meaningful, especially for budget-conscious gardeners. But what banana peels cannot do is replace kelp meal or wood ash as a primary potassium source for heavy feeders like tomatoes or peppers. They cannot fix an existing potassium deficiency on their own. And they cannot serve as a complete fertilizer for crops like tomatoes, peppers, or cucumbers. One note on wood ash is important here. It does offer more potassium, typically 3 to 7%, but it also raises soil pH. Avoid it around blueberries, azaleas, rhododendrons, or any acid-loving plants. Always test your soil pH before adding wood ash. Think of banana peels like a daily vitamin. They help, but they are not a magic trick. And really, that is the mindset shift that changes everything. Set the right expectation, and you will not be disappointed. So, what does all of this mean for your garden? Banana peels do have real value. Not miracle fertilizer value, but genuine slow-release potassium supplement value when you use them correctly. And really, that is the whole lesson. The method matters more than the ingredient. A month from now, you could have a small compost corner. Nothing fancy. Just a spot where your banana peels, coffee grounds, and kitchen scraps are quietly becoming something real. You will pick up those peels from breakfast, and instead of throwing them away, you will know exactly what to do with them. That is not a miracle. That is just good science, practiced consistently. And honestly, I wish someone had explained this to me earlier. I spent months reading contradictory YouTube videos when the answer was right there in the USDA database and in my uncle's compost pile, which he had been running for 30 years without reading a single study. He did not have a chemistry degree. He just let decomposition finish its job before applying anything. Science simply put a name to what he already knew. Banana peels are just one piece of the puzzle. They are useful, but only when you stop expecting them to do a job they were never designed to do. Used correctly, they can supplement potassium in a diverse compost mix, contribute small amounts of calcium, magnesium, and manganese, improve soil structure when fully composted, and help reduce kitchen waste. That is the real value. Quiet, steady, practical value. But if you expect them to replace a balanced fertilizing program, replace stronger potassium sources, or rescue a serious deficiency on their own, disappointment is almost guaranteed. And that is where so many gardeners get misled. Not because banana peels are worthless, but because the promise made for them was never honest to begin with. Your grandmother was half right. The old compost wisdom was real. But the other half of the truth is just as important. Decomposition has to finish. The process matters. The timing matters. And what is happening underground matters far more than a flashy claim in a video title. So now I want to hear from you. What kitchen scraps have you been using in your garden? Banana peels, coffee grounds, eggshells, whatever you have got. Share it in the comments. If this helped you see through the noise and understand what actually works, like subscribe and stay with us, because sometimes the best garden advice is not louder. It is simply more honest. Happy gardening.